Welcome to As We Get Older. I'm Laura Ornduff, and this video is part of the Who's Who in the Hospital series. Something that I put together for those of you who've not been around the hospital much, yet you find yourself or your loved one in the hospital, and you're wondering who are all these people who go in and out of your hospital room 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This video I'm going to focus on non-ancillary staff. Now, the non-ancillary staff are those who are in the hospital, yet they don't carry out medical duties, but they are vital in your hospitalization. Chaplains, food and nutrition, housekeeping, registration. So I want to cover some of those and help you understand a little bit more of what each one of those do. Now, the terms and titles may be different in the hospital in your town. These are generalizations. Let's start with registration. These are some of the folks you're going to see early on in your visit because they need to get an armband on you. Now, if you've ever looked at an armband, it's going to have your name, your date of birth, and some other information. And this is important because if they're taking blood for a lab, or if they're giving you meds, or even just taking your blood pressure, they need to make sure they are matching the correct patient to the chart. So that armband is vital. So that's why you're going to see them early on. Registration also is going to work with you to make sure you have insurance information correct, any authorizations. They're going to help you take care of all of that. And depending on the hospital and their role, they may be involved with moving you into different units. If you are there with chest pains, getting you into the cardiac unit. But they're going to work with you to make sure that you are admitted, transferred if you need to in the hospital, and then discharged. The second group I want to talk about are those from environmental services. The hospital housekeepers are responsible for sustaining a clean and safe environment. So when they come into your room, they're going to make sure they're cleaning everything. They may change the beds, empty the trash cans, leave you extra towels. But their whole thing is to make sure your room is first clean and secondly safe. The third group I want to talk about are those from food and nutrition. Now, they don't just slap the exact same thing on everybody's plate and deliver it to the room. They look at everybody as an individual, and they're looking at your food restrictions, any allergies, and if possible, they will work in any preferences. Like, for example, you may want a bacon double cheeseburger with greasy French fries. But if you are in the cardiac unit and you have a cardiac restrictive diet, you probably are not going to get the bacon double cheeseburger and greasy fries. Part of the food and nutrition group are the clinical dietitians, and they provide medical nutritional therapy for the patients. For example, if you've been in the hospital or if you visited someone in the hospital and you've noticed a meal replacement, let's use it like a shake, there's some different brand names, but like chocolate or vanilla. It's there because they are evaluating what the patient is eating, because all of that is documented, and what the patient may need to make sure that they have a balanced and healthy diet while in the hospital. They'll also work with the patient and the family members to set up an eating plan for once the patient leaves the hospital. The fourth group are the chaplains, and no, they are not trying to convert you. That's not their role nor their agenda. They're working in collaboration with the medical team to make sure that they are providing any psychological, social, or spiritual services that not only the patient, but the family as well may need. And I can tell you, as a family member, as a daughter, both my parents, I have nothing but praise. They're amazing. Nothing but praise for them. The next group are the social workers. Depending on your hospital, they may have very different titles. They could be discharge planner, case manager, care manager, a whole host of different titles. But the bottom line is their goal is to help the patient and family navigate the process from the initial hospitalization to discharge. So if the doctor says that your loved one is going to be in the hospital for 6 or 7 days, the social worker may show up day 2 and say, okay, we now have, 5 or 6 days. At that point, what's the plan? Are they going home? Are they going to a rehab center? And they will help you understand the differences between a rehab center versus a long-term care facility. They're going to help you understand all those processes. And again, from personal experiences, helping, with Dad early on, he actually went to a rehab center, and then with Mom, she went into hospice. And it was very helpful. They could explain, I'd heard all these terms, but they were able to explain it in a way that made total sense to me. And again, nothing but praise for them. This next group may or may not be in your room, but you're going to see them just about everywhere else. Those are the hospital volunteers. Now, typically they're going to wear a jacket or vest or something that makes them easy to identify. And you're going to see them at the greeting stations or maybe pushing the wheelchair for those who are being discharged. But there are so many more things that volunteers do in hospital today. For example, they may have a peer-to-peer program. So if somebody is in the hospital and they've just had open heart surgery, they may get a visit from a volunteer who had open heart surgery a couple years prior, saying, hey, I've had this, you want to have a peer-to-peer chat, and just talk about stuff. Our hospital, our local hospital, has a very robust animal volunteer program. And the animals actually have their own badges, exact same thing as the employees and other volunteers. And they have a picture, if there's a golden retriever, his picture is on the badge. Volunteers may also, knit caps, get together once a week and knit caps for newborns. Or they actually may be, working in human resources compiling data. Now, just know, because a lot of people don't know this, hospital volunteers are held to the same standards for privacy and education as employees are. So all that talk of here about HIPAA that employees have to follow, the volunteers have to follow just the same as any employee. Any education that employees get, the volunteers have to do the education just the same. One group that hopefully won't be in your room, but may, those are the maintenance employees, maybe IT or a vendor. So if something's wrong with the computer, IT may need to sneak in and tweak something, or if the bed is not working, maybe maintenance has to, or even maybe the vendor, maybe you're on a high-tech floor. The vendor needs to come in and update some software to the bed. So hopefully they won't be in there, but that is a possibility. This last group you may not have any interaction with, but I want to make sure that you know that they are there. A lot of people still call it medical records, but many hospitals are going to health information management as the name. They do pretty much what it sounds like. They maintain your medical records, be that on paper or electronic version. So if you bring in something from your doctor's office that's on paper, they're going to scan it in and put it into your electronic chart. They're also going to make sure that if you have a referral to a doctor, that your records that are appropriate are sent to the new doctor or sent back to your primary care physician, or if you're being transferred somewhere. So where you may have a small interaction is somebody comes into your room and asks you to sign permission to send it to the new doctor. So let's say you're getting a referral to a rehab center and they need your signature or your healthcare power of attorney signature before they can send the records to anyone. And of course, if you ever have any question, ask to speak to someone and they can send somebody up to your room and clarify any confusion, because sometimes it can be a little confusing, but they'll be happy to help you out. So that is a brief overview of the non-ancillary staff. I did not cover everything. I didn't cover human resources. I didn't cover all of it. I was just trying to focus on people that you would interact with in your room. So please be sure to check out my video on the doctors and the ancillary staff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.